Hey everybody, this is Scott Bowman. I am the creator behind Idea Brickworks. This is episode 6,
Yep,
I think,
episode 6.
of Brick Building Together Apart. And I am joined for sure by Sam Jones, my cohort
Hello.
from England, and Dave Schefcik. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Hey!
Congratulations.
I can be trained. I'm old, but I can be trained. So I met Dave about probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 at Brickslopes. Got his minifig or his sig fig and got to know him a little bit. And then I contacted him not that much long after that. And he mistakenly agreed to be my assistant for STEM Moonshot in Seattle. So we really got to know him then. And Sam helped, of course, as you guys or people that follow this understand. And so the three of us were kind of the three amigos during that whole process, and had a great time, got to know each other, spent a lot of time with Lego and a lot of kids, and had a lot of fun. So with that, we will be building and talking and asking questions and talking about life, the universe, and everything, otherwise known as 42. And yeah, that's it. So Dave, do you want to just say a little bit about yourself?
Hi, guys. I'm Dave Schefcik. I currently living outside of Seattle, Washington. And I'm the news editor for the Brothers Brick. I help volunteer to help run BrickCon, and I try to get to whatever Lego conventions I can around the country when they're running, when we're not in the middle of a global pandemic. So I like to meet people, and I like to build, and I'm looking forward to building with you guys today.
Cool. So I am going to continue building the Y-Wing that I started last week, and didn't have time. I had actual commissions and stuff to work on. So I don't have anything else to work on at this point. So I'm going to do that one. What about you, Dave? What are you going to do?
Well, I have a selection of set of my backlog what I need to build, so I can go through it and maybe we can vote together to see what happens. So I have the Friends idea set that I've not built. I have this little tiny Sith trooper Star Wars pack. I have the Lego Creator Mustang, the Star Wars Dio, or this really interesting mini Lowe's. It's not Lego, but it's mini Lowe's, and so it's 3/4 of the size of Lego, and I got that on a trip to China. And so they make these really, really cool mini ones. Or I have a very appropriate set, which I have never built, which I think might be fitting for this broadcast, but it won't get done in just a few hours, though.
And what would that be?
It would be this one back here that I've never opened, actually.
Let me guess. Does it start with an S and end with a V?
No, actually, it ends with a number.
Well, I guess it would be the Roman numeral.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
You haven't built that yet?
I've actually only ever built it once during a speed build at a convention. So I've built like a fifth of it.
Interesting.
So we'll
How have you not built it yet?
Well, I've built a 12-foot tall one.
Well, I suppose, yeah. Once you build one that's 12 foot tall, why would you build anything smaller, right?
Yes.
There it is, right there. Right there. So, yeah, let me just take it out of the box. This is an interesting box, too. This is the way it's shipped, so.
Was that well, you must have gotten that right from Lego?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the way the Lego store shipped it, actually. So
See, when
I mean,
Lego ships stuff to me, I just get a huge box that's about this big for a box that's this big.
well, this was in another box, so
Yeah.
it was nestled in there. So I could build this one.
You will enjoy it. It's a fun build.
Well, I'm really excited to display it next to this other really cool one that I have.
And I did not pay him to do this, by the way. I did give him the set, but
So I have this fun little mini Saturn V rocket, which is a fantastic build. I think it's available online at some site. What's the site name?
well done, Sam.
Anyway, it's a fun little one, and I think it needs a big brother here.
It is.
So.
Yes, I have. Of course, I have several of those around here.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I've got one of those as well.
That's really cool. Well, I hear it's a really limited edition because I have a few others that. So this one's limited edition, right? So
It is. That's
so this
from
one
the first.
actually comes in a set like this, right? And we helped package all of these for the kids for the STEM moonshot. But if you order it online, it comes like this.
And whilst you have those lovely little packages there, let's just show everybody how those packages started. Because I have a picture queued up right here ready for this.
I can't wait.
So when we started in Seattle, this is what everything looked like. Just a long queue of bricks and boxes.
And we were assembly lining it down, just trying to fill everything up. And then we would actually weigh them to make sure we were right. And half the time we weren't and had to start again. And
we
then
did have some quality assurance problems or quality control problems.
My favorite experience was when the accountants from the Museum of Flight came down.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, don't worry about this. We got this." And then, like, our error rate dropped to like nothing. It was amazing.
I know,
absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
For people that are curious about this lovely printed detail, it comes on this lovely die-cast sticker sheet. Very high quality. Very high quality. It's one of the few times that I've actually applied stickers to my sets. So,
you know, I met him at Bricks Cascade, or didn't, but I saw him, that Sticker Awesome. I don't know if you know who's behind that.
I don't.
AJ, I think his name is. He must support the community because he donated some stuff to your package, you know, that we got at Bricks Cascade.
Have fun.
Anyway, he's printing the next set. I did have to buy 1,000 of them, but they're less expensive per unit. I just had to commit to 1,000, and the quality is even better than what I've been getting. So there is an upgrade coming. They're
all right.
I love
upgrades.
Another.
I don't know. Now I don't know exactly what else is available from Idea Brickworks, but I also have these very exclusive sets as well. This one is an Apollo moon landing set, and I have to tell you what, I love these little packaging. It's like a perfect little seal of a packaging. This one is a little astronaut, which is on the base of the Saturn V rocket.
Same scale.
Which is quite fun. And then I have this little mini microspace shuttle by a guy named Scott Bowman. So
no idea who he is.
So I could build any of these, or I could work on the big one. What do you think, Scott?
I think you got to build the big one too.
Build the big one? All right, I'll build the big one.
I think you'll enjoy that. What are you going to do, Sam? Do you have anything to build, or?
I am going to reassemble another one of my own creations, and it's not the Bentley. The Bentley is pretty much finished, as we've seen in previous episodes. But I decided to do a model of a van and specifically my work van. I've made a few tweaks to the design in studio, so I want to rebuild it today and see if I can lose some bricks effectively and replace them with other bits.
Do we want to know what's happened in that van, or no?
It's just work stuff, you know.
Okay,
it's not that kind of van.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, knowing Sam, you never know.
It's funny though, they do cram 3 people in there because sometimes you do events from inside the van.
Oh no, this is a different van. My one, I can fit 6 people in my van. That van that we do events in the back of, that one gets interesting. That's a bigger van though, a lot bigger.
Well, I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna make a lot of noise here really quick. So
yeah, it's okay.
I mean, it's the most beautiful sound in the world, but
it is.
Yeah, it is.
So I do a lot of Lego events, and most Lego events have free build, which may go away. I'm not quite sure what to do in the post-apocalyptic or whatever, post-pandemic with free build and kids. But sometimes I come, they want me to show up after they've opened, and I just pour the brick out on the table, and it's like that sound radiates through the facility, and kids just come out of everywhere. And
I feel like it sounds like almost like glass.
It is magical sound. So while you're opening up and organizing, how did you get started as an AFOL, Dave?
It's kind of a fun story, actually. Apparently, I can't sort and speak at the same time, so just give me 1 second. Because putting things in numbered order is hard, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let me just open up these 2, and then we'll get going. All right, there we go. What a great looking instruction book too. I mean, that's really nice looking.
It is, and it's got some really good information in it. I've written several notes to parents as a professional engineer, telling them to buy the Saturn V for their kid for the educational value that you get out of it. And you know, you think about where it came out at $120. It's still
great value.
It was a fabulous value. But yeah, and by the way, Sam, you never did answer whether you were interested in the deal I offered.
Scott, you're offering Lego in exchange for Lego. I don't think there's much to think about there, okay. But yes, I am.
Because I have an extra Saturn V, and Sam didn't get one before it retired.
Ooh. I mean, I feel like that would be very appropriate for... I mean, look at the shirt he's wearing. Obviously, we had a very big impact on his life building the huge, tall Saturn V rocket. I mean, it's probably one of his more uplifting moments of his life.
It was entertaining. It was an entertaining week. And don't get me wrong, I had an absolutely amazing time. And you were both responsible for that. But yeah, it was, well, there was a lot about that week that was pretty awesome, and that I don't think you'd. I don't think you would.
Are you tearing up?
Well, I'm trying to find the words. I'm struggling. Basically, Dave, I'm trying to say I had a good time.
It was fun being there with you. For those who weren't there, we kind of had fun. And Sam, you had never really worked with Lego before then, right?
Not worked with it. No, I'd obviously had my own kits and built stuff at home, but never done anything on that side of it, huge of a scale, or even understood half the terminology or anything like that.
We had a lot of instruction on what terms meant.
We teased them a little bit throughout the process, but I think you rose to the occasion very well.
Thank you.
Just a little bit.
So you had asked how I got into or became an AFOL. It was actually I loved Lego growing up as a kid, and so I was raised on a few sets. I love one of my favorite sets was the old Fort Eldorado pirate set, kind of the white and yellow one. That was a fantastic set.
Before they committed to going gray.
Yeah. Well, I had Blacktron sets. I had some. I mean, I had a good collection. I used to just build tons of different creations, and honestly, I built some spaceships growing up, which were quite fun. And then at that Brickslopes where I first met you, my mother actually came up from Las Vegas, and she had found my childhood Lego in the garage that had been missing for years and years and years. And so she brought that to me, and it's been fun kind of going through that and seeing, yeah. Apparently, I was a color sorter as a kid because it was all in little baggies of colored brick. So
interesting.
I actually I have a hybrid sorting system. I sort everything that's smaller than a 2x2 brick by element into like little Akron Mills drawers, and then everything bigger than a 2x2 brick I sort by color, but within that color, plates, bricks, slopes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
everybody has a different method.
Yep, it works for me. I can find pieces pretty quickly. So I built Lego as a kid, and then started going to school, got busy, went to college, kind of left it all behind, and then I moved to Seattle, and I was working for a company that was contracted by Microsoft, and they had just done a remodel of their offices, and they wanted us all to be creative. And so the person next to me brought in a tarp with sand and built a little tiki hut for real, and the other person did paper mache and made their desk and office into a hobbit hole with a cool door and everything like that. And here I'm sitting thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do to look creative compared to these people? And at the exact same time, my cousin, who was very big into Lego and lived locally, was heading out for 2 years, for some odd reason, leaving for 2 years to a different country to learn a new language on a Mormon mission. And he was like, oh, I have all these cool Lego sets. They're all mixed up in one big bin, but if you want to sort and organize them, you can build them and put those on display. And so he brings out these huge bins, and we're talking about like Sopwith Camel, all the original Lego Harry Potter sets, Death Star, a lot of the UCS Star Wars sets, and these were all mixed together. And I viewed it as a challenge because I remembered Lego as a kid and I loved it, and so I started sorting through this and started building these things one at a time, and putting them on display in my office. I mean, including some of the original modulars, and then the desk became kind of like Legoland Microsoft almost, because there were so many things up. When it came time to take down everything, HR approached me and said, we could actually see you from the window where we're like recruiting people over here. So could you just leave it up? It's unlike paper mache and sand and things. It doesn't break any fire codes or anything. So I actually ended up leaving it up, and then I felt obligated to update it with the newest set that came out every now and then. And so I would build the biggest, newest architecture set or the big, huge. I remember building. I came in after work on a Saturday with some friends, and we built the Sydney Opera House at work just to put it on display. And so then I felt like I needed to keep it updated. And by then I had gotten hooked. My cousin came home from his 2 years abroad. I gave him all of his wonderfully sorted Lego back, and but then I had pretty much replaced it all with other cool things on display, and that's how I got started. And from there, it was, finding a local lug, and then going to a convention, and then getting involved, and then eventually started writing for Brothers Brick, and then met a lot of amazing people, and leads to cool projects like building a 12-foot tall Saturn V rocket at the Museum of Flight. So
that's right. So you mentioned it, and for everybody, Brothers Brick, if you have not ever gotten onto their website or seen their Twitter feed or Facebook, they are a very popular, very well-respected, I guess, what would you call it? Fan communication or?
I view it as a news website. It's like one of the biggest Lego news and fan sites in the world. What we do is we have Lego news, but also celebrate, builders by showcasing their work. And so that's primarily what we do, is showcase all the great things that the Lego community are building. So,
and also they're very quick on reviews, so that if you're interested in a new set, you can look on their site for that. Dave, you mostly do news, correct?
Yep, I am the Brothers Brick news editor. So if there's any ever a new set coming out or something, we get the press release from Lego or materials, or we do our own reporting to try to get the information out to the fan community.
Yep.
So,
and that does give you some access that normal humans don't get.
It is a privilege to get some of that information ahead of time. I know that the Lego community is very big into leaks and things, but we do our best to try to protect our sources and be true to all the hard work that Lego puts into a set to reveal it the way they want it to be revealed. So doing that, year over year definitely builds trust, and so they do trust us with a little bit of early information sometimes. So
speaking of new Lego sets,
yeah,
what do you think of the Lamborghini?
I like it. I was at Lego when they revealed the Bugatti 2 years ago. I was in Denmark when they revealed it, and they got me hook, line, and sinker, and I ended up buying one of them, and I actually still haven't built it yet. It's the only. I hate to admit it, but it's the only Technic set that I own.
You don't own the Porsche?
No, I'm much more of a system guy. So I didn't own it. So I need to build it sometime and learn how to build Technic with pins and things. But I got a really good look at it, and I think the color choice is really fun. It's going to be really bright.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see somebody's collection where they have, the big red car, orange, yellow, green, blue, just having all of them kind of in a rainbow order. I think that'd be really cool. I like it. It's not for me, but I know a lot of people are very excited for it. So
I'm very conflicted. I'm not a big Lambo fan. And I'm not a hater either, but I just, it has never been a marquee that I've been particularly interested in. But I love the size and the scale, and I love the amount of mechanism. But it also came in at isn't it a $400?
I think it's like $373.80. I'm not sure. You could go to the Brothers Brick article.
I should. Yeah. In fact, I thought I read it there, and I was going to check that before we got on. But yeah, the price point's high enough that with my lack of income due to recent circumstances, it's not.
Yeah.
I got in enough trouble when I bought the Falcon, and I was making money then.
I tell you what, though, Lego has just knocked it out of the park in terms of sets I want to buy this year. I mean, there's a bunch of them that go and sell on June 1st that are like day one purchases for me. I collect all the architecture sets, so the White House is a day one purchase for me. That Creator pirate ship is a day one purchase for me. So
I have Barracuda Bay on order, but it's not going to be here till August.
Oh wow! I have 3 more bags in that. I've been live building that, and I stopped about 2 weeks ago because I got busy, and so it's actually sitting unopened. You know, the last bag is sitting opened right there. I can see it. It's mocking me.
Mocking you.
Wow, they really in this set they just get you going right in the central core, don't they?
Yeah, and it's a very the build technique is fascinating to me.
Well, you know, it's hard to make Lego round. So
unless your pixels are really big.
True. Very true. Kind of like mosaics that people do.
Yeah. You know, I've got, I should show a couple of pictures from. So we've talked a fair amount about
the Lego Saturn. Yeah.
And is this the one you took, Sam, or did you take this, Dave?
I took that. I saw the light hitting it, and it looked like it was glowing, and I was just like, I have to. Like, yes. I kid you not, I took probably close to 100 pictures of that once it was done because it was so cool in that gallery, in that space. I had to take pictures of it.
We can kind of see we had an area, a fairly large area with the tables where mentors would work with groups of kids, and you know, we cycled through pretty close to 1,000 kids over the 3 days.
And for clarification, the kids would follow kind of these instructions to build rings, and then our volunteers from my local Lego users group SEALUG were helping the kids build these rings, and then Scott would stack all of the rings to build that huge rocket.
And then connect them together too, because they're in 9 segments for easier transport. Notice.
So I have a picture here of the of our area. Stand by. There we go. You can see Scott working away here in the corner.
You're probably still working on instructions.
Yeah, you were at that time.
So
that was.
You got to imagine, so there's 34,000 bricks. Every single one of those bricks appeared on a page of instructions so that the kids could build it. Of course, they weren't always right.
This is one of those times.
That's one of those times.
And this is
sometimes there was a miracle occurs every so often, and then they'd come to me for that assistance. But yeah, that was a fun event.
It was very fun. That was the first part.
Yep, there's the base. How heavy is that base so it doesn't tip over?
100 pounds plus the metal plates, probably another 20, so 120
Yeah.
pounds.
And who gets to load that in and out of their car constantly whenever we set this up?
Both you and I. And you notice I did do the individual weights because that's much easier to move.
Oh yes, if it wasn't, I'd be having a conniption, that's for sure.
I did want to show, this is a couple of pictures of Dave and I at that event. I particularly like the one on the left.
I think Sam took that, right?
Yeah, I think both of those are my pictures actually, because I think the one on the right has come from the iPhone camera that was watching the build all the time.
Oh, the live stream?
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Those are nice pictures.
Oh.
And at the end of the event, we were all a little tired. We were all a little punchy at that point too. And then I got to meet some really incredible people. SEALUG is awesome, I just have to say. I met a lot of those. Many of them came up and said hi to me at Bricks Cascade, those that came. I think I'm a semi-adopted member of SEALUG, so
100% yes.
And so I really look forward to them a lot. I think that I'd like to do a collaborative build. We'll talk more about that later, but I'd love to do it with you guys.
Whenever Scott says he has an idea for a project, I don't know whether to be happy or to run away screaming.
Well, you remember what happened last time? You said yes.
Yeah, I got a 12-foot tall Saturn V rocket in my storage unit perpetually.
So then we did get to display it at Bricks Cascade, which was basically the last convention in the U.S.
Yep, it was the last LEGO convention before the.
Yep. And things going virtual, and so we won honorable mention together. So that is Dave and I accepting the prize, and then a picture of the prize. And then my neighbor is this interesting guy that's a nuclear scientist, and he was doing a collaborative build right next to where I had the Saturn V, and he gave me this. I'm going to science the shit out of that, which was quite apropos. So I got that.
Nice. No, it's I love when you come and show that model off, because you are one of the best people I've ever seen to engage kids. I mean, like on their level, let them touch the model, showcase how it was built, kind of encourage that learning, and it really, I think you're a class act when you come to conventions to show that off.
Thank you. I do. I love to show it off, but more I like to. And you kind of heard my sales speech, but I really like kids to learn something, and that's a fun thing about Lego, I think, and why I use it in my STEM outreach and STEAM outreach. It's very approachable, right? It's I think kids are comfortable with it, and so that education's very organic when you start talking about it. So,
well, I think it's becoming even more approachable now. If you look and see how often Lego is sold out of a set now, I think a lot of people are using Lego as puzzles to keep them busy and to engage in this time. But I also love it when you're there talking about the rocket, because then that means I don't have to. I can go do other things. As much as I love engaging.
Knowledge about the original, but yeah, I did a lot of there were a lot of selfie or pictures taken, and then I would photobomb the pictures. But so I'm out there a lot, I think, on Facebook, but I just have not been able to pin that down.
Okay, this set is crazy. I mean, just the weird connections and angles. I mean, it in no way looks like it's going to turn into a rocket. That's
Yeah, I know.
amazing that you then put the casing on and all the work that goes inside of it just to make it round. That's just the first bag.
And how, you know, and that's what I tell parents too. It's very playable. You know, it's a good demonstration model as well.
Oh yeah. Well, what's funny is that I've made it a personal hobby of mine to see Lego displayed in the background of online interviews or BBC broadcasts, just anybody talking about the news, or they cut to an expert or things like that. And this Saturn V model is consistently is the set that appears in most people's like professional offices. And I think it's just amazing.
You know, my son-in-law works, he's in security, and he works for Capital One in Virginia. And so he's always walking around the office, and of course it's been empty for quite a while, but there's a Saturn V and so he sent me pictures of the Saturn V and the person's desk that's the Saturn V, and so I know what you mean. I have seen it a lot.
I love how colorful it is on the inside.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Steamboat Willie set that they just made. It's like this crazy colorful like blocks and everything on the outside. Then you put this black and white exterior on it. It's kind of fun knowing what's inside.
I did not get that set. I find I'm being a little choosier. Like I love the architecture, but I'm having trouble displaying it, and at the price point, that's a little difficult. And so I've kind of focused on the Skylines because I really like the smaller versions of some of the other models.
Mm-hmm. I totally get what you mean in terms of displaying. Trying to find a picture to share of my architecture collection. Let me find that quick.
It's interesting. This the Y-wing's got a bunch of 3mm brown hose, which is interesting for greeble.
All right, so back in my old apartment, I had some shelves that were like built into the wall, and I would display whatever architecture I could fit on it. So I would always
oh wow, yeah,
I would always rotate out whatever I could to fit. And if I couldn't put it on that shelf, then I would take it apart and put it back into its box. So.
I'm also noticing a very good wine collection there.
Yes. That when you live in Washington and Columbia Valley have some really, really great stuff. So.
Turns out Idaho has some nice wine places that my wife took Sam and I to.
Really? In Idaho? Now,
Idaho.
what's interesting is that I actually live in Pullman, Washington, which is about 4 or 5 hours outside of Seattle. And I think I actually live closer to you, Scott, than I do to Seattle right now. So I live right on the Idaho border right now, right near WSU. And who are the Vandals? That's Idaho. Is that Idaho State?
No.
University of Idaho?
University of Idaho, I think.
University of Idaho.
Of course, I'm not a native, so I don't know that I should be commenting.
Where are you from?
Iowa.
Iowa.
So I started the Iowa lug, and got to know Joe and Kevin because we jumped in with both feet on the community projects, and now I've done 5 of them. So I think I'm kind of known at Lego for doing the community projects.
Well, I hope you get to do more. I was excited about some of the conversations you had with some of the people at the Saturn V thing from Florida.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a hold of them, but I've really decided that the model of STEM Moonshot works so well that I'm going to try and target Artemis 21, because that's the first test launch of the new SLS, Space Launch System. Yeah, SLS.
Nice. Actually, there's the launch today that should be happening soon, right?
This
They're
afternoon.
going to try to launch the first man. Yeah.
I watched all
So
day.
I think we're going to come
when they canceled.
I'm excited for us to get back into space exploration.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right, so here we go. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, wow, that's not really a question that can be answered in one. In the time we have left.
You have to choose one.
I can't. I genuinely can't.
Sam doesn't want to upset his fans.
Sam is quite the admiral. Aren't you quite accomplished on the Star Trek video game?
Oh yeah, on the Star Trek Online. Yeah, I put a lot of time into that. Since it came out in 2009, following on the back of, or just ahead of the release of the Chris Pine Star Trek movie. Yeah, I'd put a lot of time and effort into that, and I still play it now. So good. Keeps me busy, keeps me entertained, keeps me out of trouble. All that good stuff.
Keeps you out of trouble. I can't imagine you ever being out of trouble.
I don't know what you mean, Dave. I was good as gold in Seattle.
By the way, got a lovely little garden, and you get to see it in his video of the charger build.
Yeah, I built this bad boy.
Oh, is that Dom's charger?
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
You can watch the review video on Scott's YouTube channel. Kind enough to let me tag along and put some other videos on there. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Well,
for everyone who doesn't know,
videos.
Yeah. What is Scott's YouTube channel?
Well, funny enough, is Idea Brickworks.
Okay.
Oh, I just sold something on Etsy.
Well, there you go. See, the links work.
I just forgot.
Instant feedback.
So if you are watching and you did purchase something on Etsy, you are awesome. Scott loves you right now.
Yes.
So, Scott, you can send me my commission on that later.
Okay, I will.
To be clear, I don't make anything. They're just fun sets, and I endorse them completely.
They are fun sets. I got quite a few of them as well when we finished Seattle. And, they were just so fun to build because they're nice little small little things. They don't take up loads of room, and they're just so cool.
I'm really excited for if he ever releases he's made a really cool light up base for the bottom of this rocket that looks like a smoke coming or steam coming out from the rocket as it's launching. It's all lit up and beautiful. He brought that to Bricks Cascade. I hope you release that as a set one day, Scott.
I have heard about this, and I haven't even seen it yet. You're ahead of me.
So here's what I brought to. I'm trying to put it in the door so that you can see it.
Tell you what, I'll put you big screen, Scott. There you go. Look at that.
And right now, I guess that's hard to see with the backlight, but I just have like a 1400 lumen flashlight that I've captured in the base. So the base is very complex to hold that. But I am working with Brickstuffs, which is one of the major fan-based lighting companies. And yeah, we may have something out in the next couple months. We lost a little food. It'll be
Well, let
small.
me know. I do like collecting models from other people. I think that I love when the community comes together and does things. Like for example, at BrickCon, we do a BrickCon model every single year. So last year, the convention model was this little desk worker from built by Jason Allman of JK Brickworks. He and Chris Malloy, who is the managing editor at Brothers Brick, worked on this together.
Oh, very cool.
If you can see, it moves. But he has just recently updated the model, which he posted to his YouTube channel, of this little office worker.
Yeah.
In this beautiful chair, and he works with the crank.
Oh, cool.
Funny thing is that this desk setup looks almost exactly like the desk I had at Microsoft. So I was like, oh, I have to build this. I have to build this. So, and he posts his instructions online, which are just amazing. So I love celebrating and adding other people's things to my collection. Actually, I have one other thing here if you want to see. I collect the architecture line, but this is a model of Sagrada Familia in Spain. And this was a design made by Cohen Zwanberg that he posted online, and I had to figure out how to put the internals together. But he had this idea to use this the central spoke of the old kind of twirly stairs that Lego makes to create this very organic look. And I just said, oh, that's just beautiful. I need to add that to my architecture collection. So
yeah, that looks like outstanding, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great model. This is a great model.
I will admit, ever since I've started doing my own stuff, and bear in mind that's only really taken off in the past month or so since we've been in lockdown here in the UK. I have been looking more at people's designs on Bricklink and other places, and seeing what other people have designed.
Other places like the Brothers Brick.
Yeah, everywhere, because you can literally find, people's designs and anywhere, and there's so much out there, and you think, oh, nobody's designed any of my anything really cool that I want to do, but I guarantee you, someone's designed it, and you can either build it or you can design your own.
Yep. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I designed that. I designed a Bentley, little Speed Champion style Bentley, and you sit there and go, well, it starts off small, but now I've got a £1,000 TARDIS that I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to fund. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love when new pieces come out, new sets and things, and I get all these ideas of things I want to build, and I only get to 1% of the ideas of the things I want to build, but I collect the pieces for projects that I want to build eventually, right?
Yeah.
And and I'm starting to have too many collections of pieces for that one project I want to get to eventually. So, and it.
I just had a very unusual sale on Etsy. So this guy contacted me and he wanted to make sure that he was getting something that was in the original package. And he ended up buying both the Micro Saturn V plus my Apollo landing tribute. And then he sent it back, and he collects sealed kits and paraphernalia about Apollo.
Oh,
and it's like, he's never going to build it. And I thought, I can understand, I bought 2 Saturn V's immediately. So there's one back there. I've got another one, Sam, that's got your name on it.
Thank you.
Because there was a 20% off and they had a Saturn V. So I just got it because one does. And, but, I wouldn't get it and then not build it, but hey, it was a nice sale. So I'm not going to argue.
I don't know. I mean, I have some sets that I will never open that I got just to have. So I do agree that sets are more to be built. But I do have some collector's pieces. So.
Oh, I was going to mention, that's one thing I do like about Brothers Bricks reviews of new sets is you tend to always show what the new elements are.
Yeah.
What the printed bricks are, if there are any, that kind of stuff, which as somebody that's kind of interested in that aspect, even if I'm not necessarily interested in that set, that's nice. So thank you for that.
We call people like that parts monkeys. So I'm definitely a parts monkey. Chris Malloy is a parts monkey. We have a internal chat channel at Brothers Brick. Whenever a new set is announced, we always skewer the pictures just to see what the new pieces are. Because I mean, Lego pieces are vocabulary. They're a building vocabulary, and it's kind of like introducing a new word or a new letter. It's like what can you do with that? It's the only language where you can just completely reinvent itself over and over again.
Now I can see why you're writing.
We do enjoy another great resource if you're interested in, the geometry, the parts, kind of thing like that. It's a website called New Elementary, and they do a fantastic job at analyzing new parts. That's kind of like their whole focus. So, I am a Patreon supporter of theirs.
Oh, and by the way, there's a fairly nice list of other sites on Brothers Brick. I think is it under your resources tab?
Yes.
Yeah. And I saw that elementary and I was intrigued, so I'll have to.
Yeah, you'll get hooked. You will get hooked.
So we'll just say hello to a couple of our regular viewers. Luke, my cousin, is still watching. After 6 episodes, he's still here.
Hey.
Hello, Luke. What does Luke like to build?
Oh, that's a question for Luke. I'll admit I've not seen him since he was very, very small. And probably as small as when words weren't really his thing, and it was more picking up things and throwing them. It's been a few years.
I mean, I still pick up things and throw them occasionally, right?
Especially recently. Speaking of parts, I'll show you one that where'd I put it?
Oh, well, that's stupid. Why did you do that, Sam?
So
Stupid way to build stuff.
this is a fender, and I was doing this commission, which is a van, and this is the final design without the stickers, or, well, it does have the printed brick now, but without the sticker set, which is just about done with vinyl. But I originally had really liked this fender, and I thought it would have looked good. And I'm kind of resisting putting it on because I am going to fall in love with it, because it turns out this only came on the Mini. And so when you have any piece that is only in one set, kind of like maybe we were offline when we talked about it, but the gray fender, the light blue gray fender from Speed Champion was very hard to get. It becomes expensive. And so the other day I was at Bricks and Minifig, and they had a built set of the Mini. Some parts were missing, but they only had it for $20. And so I picked it up, and frankly, I just about, because these were going for like $2.50. So I just about paid for half of that just by having these, or not having to buy these. I'm not going to sell them, but you know, it's just kind of funny when you get to that one piece that you'd like to have.
Yep. My worst thing is when I'm trying to build a project or something, and I need that one specific piece, and I realize that one specific piece only came in like a Comic-Con exclusive, and so the sets are like, you know, $6,000 or something like that. I'm like, well, time to redesign this project because I'm not getting that one single piece.
I still want to build the Space Slug. I've got the instructions, and I probably have all the parts for it, but I'd love that.
Yeah, I got all the parts for that. Whenever I can, I will get the. A lot of times they post the instructions online, and I'll build the exclusives. I really like that, making like the packaging the exclusive aspect and not the parts or the build. So I built, let's see, the Ant-Man bust, the Darth Vader bust, the Space Slug, the jail cell from the Death Star. They're all fun little kits. Now, when you said Mini, do you mean Mini Cooper, the green car, or okay?
Yep. Now, Dave does not normally do kits, but recently he did a kit.
I did.
Did you?
Do you have?
I have one I can show.
I'm excited.
I just recently got married, and so I made a commemorative kit for wedding favors. And so I kind of imitated the architecture line and got stickered printing and printed bricks and things like that, and had to make sure that the box fit all the pieces and the box fit the ultimately built creation, and that's what it was. Just very simple. But at our wedding, we actually had, you know how they have candy bars sometimes where they have little tubes of all these different candies, and you can make it. Well, we left one of these empty boxes on everybody's plate with this printed brick in there, and then they could go up at their leisure, look at the instructions, which I had custom made and everything too, to collect all the pieces from these little tubes and then build this. And so that was kind of a fun activity that we did at our wedding.
Very cool.
It's a very limited set. There were I think only a total of 50 of them made. So.
And he gave one to me. Thank you.
So. Sorry, Sam. International shipping is a little expensive.
I don't blame you. I really don't.
We have a lugger in India, and he was here in Boise for 2 years working under contract at Micron, and he wanted to participate in the worst way in a build activity, but I looked at sending him something and it was like $150. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
terrible to send to India.
Sometimes Brothers Brick does contests and things like that. And we have like a particular set in mind for the winner or something. And we always say, if you're international, we will send it. We'll have the Lego store mail it to you, because it's cheaper to basically drop ship it and purchase it than to send like a copy that we have on hand.
Of course, India doesn't really have. It's difficult for them to get Lego, apparently.
Sometimes we've gone onto a Bricklink and seen if somebody has it close by locally.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I have a very deep respect for anybody who makes kits or instructions now, after trying to make a somewhat professionally looking set and sourcing pieces and getting printed pieces and printing instructions, and then having them, fold them the wrong way or organize something and having to get it redone. And it just takes so much time and effort.
That's my life. There aren't very many of us doing kits,
A lot of people do instructions, but a lot of people don't do kits.
A lot of people do commissions, but there aren't many of us doing kits. Partially, the economics are tough because of what we have to buy, where we buy it. So people look at the cost per brick, and I'll admit it, it's obscene, but it's what it is, because I'm not going to use. A lot of people have gone down the rabbit hole of not using Lego, and they can get their kit prices down, but I think they lose some of the possible audience.
Yeah, there's actually, talking about architecture sets, Adam Reed Tucker, who created some of the first ones, helped start a new company, actually using 3/4 scale Lego to release new kits. So it's kind of like the scale that I talked about in that Chinese set. And he's releasing sets, new architecture sets through this other company.
Interesting.
But going back to more like classic architecture, not like landmarks and things. So, no, I think everybody should help create a kit. I've done it a couple times with BrickCon, trying to source pieces, and ultimately I find it's the packing of the sets that just takes the longest, and there's so much risk for
missing
a piece. I just am in awe of Lego's quality control to make sure that every set has every single piece.
And I'm doing, the most I've done is at a time was 250, and that just about killed me. I was actually hiring some local lug member kids, and
I wanted to do that when I've had a lot of stuff to sort. I wanted to just hire someone. Here, can you just sort this for me, please?
Ooh. You got to be careful about that free labor. Sometimes it's worth the free labor.
Oh, I would definitely probably figure out some kind of donation or something, or let them take a handful or whatever, buy pizza.
Yeah. If I do it, if it's for my kits that I'm selling, I pay kids $10 an hour and adults $15 an hour.
Or if you're really lucky, you get to stay and have a tour of Idaho.
Yeah, that's true too. Room and board. And wine.
Hey, I'm there. Okay, I gotta say, in this Saturn V set, the connections are so intricate and so perfect. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. Putting on these side panels.
Yes. There's only a couple of parts that are a wee bit fragile from a display standpoint, but that's not up until the really the transition between second stage and third stage.
So I've built my van.
Hey,
You should make it a big screen. Make yourself bigger.
Yeah. So yeah, built the van.
oh,
Nice. It almost looks like the A-Team van. If you put some like red stripes on it or something.
I'm gonna get some bricks printed because we have our logo on slope here, so I'd have that on there and on the sides as well.
If it's a slope,
Yeah.
they can print on a slope, but they can't print on a curve.
That's all right. I can do. It's a slope, and but the problem is, it was built already, and now I have all this brick left over.
And your problem is?
Well, it should belong in there somewhere. But you'd be proud, Scott, because I've managed to get rid of 4 1x1s. So
Thank you.
I consider it a success. But at the same time, I'm there going, "Oh, it still seems to work."
My family's gotten into Lego building in this time. Once lockdown started, they said, "All right, send us all each a big Lego set, and we'll build it." And so my younger sister did the big Hogwarts castle. My mother jumped right in and did all the Chinese exclusive sets and the modular bookstore. And every now and then I would get a text saying, "Well, I finished. I have these 14 parts left over, but I finished." I'm just like, "Well, just put the parts on the inside, and we'll figure it out when I visit someday."
Yeah, I hate it when I get to something and it's a part that should not be extra.
Yeah, because when you build a lot of Lego sets, you know what should be extra and what shouldn't be.
Yep.
So they've been cutting down on extra parts recently. I think it's just because
it's pretty much the 1x1s. Although I just noticed in this last set, there's a story behind this one. I could not find this in a previous bag, so I grabbed one out of my own collection. But normally a 2x2 plate would not be in there. But like they did put one extra of the 3mm hose. I love how many things skates show up in. I did the snow speeder not too long ago, and there's like a gazillion of them in the snow speeder.
And on the Mini, don't they use those as the door handles?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, one other thing we talked about last night in our practice was collaborative builds. And I haven't done one of these yet, but I know you have one photo of this, but this is the collaborative build that SEALUG did at Bricks Cascade. And I was really taken with it for a lot of different reasons. And I'll tell you about this, then I'll tell you my view of it, and then you can tell me the backstory. But
sure.
A couple things I really liked was the theme was so good for a collaboration, because you know the monkeys should look different than the elephants, should look different than, you know, it really played into that. But the other thing I really liked was how the way you went from high to low, because one of the problems I've always had with collaborative builds it shows is unless it's something you can walk around, it's difficult to see the ones in the back. And I just thought that was a very intriguing way to do that. And I think I've got this is your element. Is that correct?
I can't quite see what you're doing right now. Hang on one second.
Oh.
Got to switch windows.
With the skull?
Yes.
Okay.
I did that. I did a couple things. I did that botanical garden
Okay.
on the base level. I did a mid-tier kind of camel train walk, and in the back, that was almost, I think, 30 bricks tall in the back. I did a penguin and polar bear enclosure.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I got a close-up of that.
Well,
Oh, that's cool. I don't remember those trees. Is that one of those new trees?
that's actually a really, really old tree. That's a cypress tree.
Yeah.
It appeared in some of the really original city sets, and each of those trees I think is about like $20 or $30.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
I love doing foliage. This was actually done by a group called SEALUG, which is a group of LGBT builders in the Pacific Northwest. That's
Okay.
also part of SEALUG. And so in that build, if you can kind of see, starting at the white tree, there's a hidden rainbow there going to white to pink to red, orange, yellow, all the way back to ultraviolet in that back cave as you go. And even the animals in there, like the flamingos and there like ducks in there, those all fit in color order as you go to the back. So I love doing foliage. I love making it look natural, kind of paths and things. And so I had a lot of fun with that build. If you change to my screen, I have a little bit of an HD photo of it.
What'd you call that? Your hero shot?
Yeah, though it's kind of hard because, and I'll zoom in, you can't see the change in elevation because down here it's just one plate, and in the back it goes all the way to 50, and then this tower right here, this actually goes up and down, and this rotates, and those were done by some other members of SEALUG who are much more skilled with mechanical things than me. But you can't see the elevation. But the nice thing is because of the elevation change, you can see everything. Like I could just zoom in on it. Nothing's blocking it. One thing is like this right here is like 20 bricks tall, and it's an observation area for these Duplo giraffes, and it doesn't block these things in the back that are exactly the same height just because of that height change. So we have this kind of cat sanctuary in the back. This is the penguin area and polar bear area. I'll have to get better shots of that when it isn't blocked by the viewing platform. Kind of a bear world. Petting zoo area. This is the camel area that we did. It was just a very fun collaboration, and it came together really easily. Actually, I have some behind the scenes. Bree and Jesse, who are part of SEALUG, put this together and mocked it up, and it's just basically a grid of where's our central path going to be, who's going to own what little sections, and it kind of came together like a puzzle. And then we also decided on what is going to be our standard for elevation changes, and so we kind of had a PDF saying, okay, if you're going to be in this section, you are going to connect to somebody else's on these 4 studs, and you need to be at this certain height. And so as we were building, we would message and send pictures back and forth to say, okay, where are you building? How can I make this come together? And it came together, and it was quite fun. It was a good project.
Cool.
So I love collaborations. I get inspired by what other people do. I like being able to put together a small thing and then have it be represented in kind of like a bigger effort. Partially because at conventions, your eyes always go to whatever's big and beautiful. And sometimes a lot of the small details gets lost in a lot of these kind of bigger builds. So I really like collaborations. I did the Brothers Brick did a very successful collaboration of expanding Ninjago City. And so that was at a couple cons a few years ago. And using the style of Ninjago City, we made all these sets and expansions, and so people and those are kind of like using really good pieces in interesting ways, like people doing brick separator roofs and things like that. I think I have a picture of that too. If you just give me 1 second, I can find a interesting thing there. I mean, the whole thing was a couple tables wide, but this was my section in the Ninjago City expansion. So it's just an interesting what you can do with architecture in there. Of course, it has a tree because I love foliage. But if you look at the roofs, those are actually stud shooters stacked together to give it texture at that certain specific angle. So what's fun about stud shooters is the way that they're made, that they have a little bit extra tension. So if you touch the roof the wrong way, it all explodes. So,
you know, you really need to come to Mockfest, and we just called it for this year, so that's our big show. And we were going to do the first 2-day version of it, and anyway, it'll be in 21, but you've got to meet Matt Lincoln. He's a local builder, and he was on, was it last episode?
Yeah, last week's episode 5.
Anyway, he's become a really good friend, and he loves foliage, and he is the master of using using bricks in a unique textured way for his, and he does big castles and ships, and he always just blows me away. I know a little bit why, because he just doesn't sleep very much. He doesn't need very much sleep, so he is just always building. And he said it's, you know, the compulsion kind of part of him needs something to keep him occupied.
There was some really amazing builds at Brickslopes, like a tree that was made of nothing but minifigure hammers. And just the internal structure needed for something like that just blows my mind. So yeah, people are pushing the limits every day, and I absolutely love it. So when and where is Mockfest usually?
It's going to be in Boise, and it's right now it's like that second week in June, because I didn't want to be on. I needed it to be in June because we have a big event in August, and I need to give the builders some time.
Yeah.
But that one's the Comic Arts Festival that everybody loves to go to, but I needed a mock fest that is kind of just us. And I finally found a venue. It's free. It's huge. It's like it'd be at least 2 basketball courts long and that wide.
Wow.
So it's a huge space, and they're willing to host it for free. I'm hoping I wouldn't have to charge. I might do a little bit to the builders just to get an event brick and a couple of things like that. And I'm not trying to compete with Brickslopes, and I've told them, you know, because they're good friends of mine too. And so I'm not trying to compete with them, but I think this kind of Idaho area, we've got McCall, we've got Twin Falls, there's people around. And if I could have a 2-day event where they only had to really spend one night, I think I could get, but you know, just my lug, I can get 40 builders.
Nice.
I'm very proud of our builders. I think we've got a really good set of
builders do like showing off what they do.
What?
Builders do like showing off what they create.
They do.
So
speaking of your lug, Scott, we have one of your lug members backstage, Peter, with us.
Oh, is he there?
Yes, and I will add him in now.
Okay.
Hello, Peter.
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Good to see you.
You're even on camera, Peter. I'm proud.
I know. I angled the camera properly today. But yeah, I just built the Fiat 500 last night.
Are you doing a video for Dean?
I'm planning on it, yeah. It's my first creator expert vehicle I ever built.
Oh, nice.
It was interesting, but for some reason they seem to put a tire where the engine should be, so I'm not sure what's up with that.
That would be because the engine's on the other side of the car, right?
It's a
Yeah.
rear engine vehicle.
I'm just playing the ignorant American. But the steering wheel is where it should be. So
I love the little art piece, the little
Yes.
yeah, it was just a nice little touch and just tied in with the box art really nice.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to make a video till tomorrow because I kind of want to take this out at sunset and do some photos.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a good location that'll pop.
Nice. How was the part coloring for you? I've heard some people saying that the yellow isn't quite as consistent. Like sometimes there's a brighter color or a little darker hue.
You know what I will notice? It seems to be pretty consistent. It's on the curved slope pieces, like here on. Let me see if I can get it closer. The 2x2 curved slopes, right here where the studs are. That's where you start to notice a hue difference, and it only seems to happen on the curved slope pieces.
That's because they get so thin, right there on that edge, and so they're a little bit more transparent. So it shows the color of the stud of what's underneath it. So.
And now looking at it more closely, I do see a 1x2 plate here that also has a change in color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
too.
Nothing that bothers me.
Variation.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of people who it really drives them nuts. But for me, I like having the different colors because then, I mean, you can do so many different things. I mean, I still build with old gray mixed in with bluish gray just for kind of a weathered look or something like that. I like it when it comes.
The greeble.
Yep.
I've noticed yellow brick does that anyway. Because, the yellow brick that I get, it seems to be having a fair amount of variation.
Is that the yellow or the bright light yellow?
Not the bright light. I think that could be even worse, but just the standard bright yellow. That's just been my experience.
If you ever want to do a fun experiment, find a big collection of just red brick and then put UV light on it. And then you can see all the different types of red Lego has made over the years. Some fluoresces, some don't, some are a little bit more transparent than others. It is absolutely fascinating. Because I know that Lego did switch from using colored ABS plastic to dyeing it as they mold it. So now, for the most part, they only buy, I think it's kind of a whitish ABS plastic that then they dye all of their colors themselves in the injection molding process.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when I was there years ago, I'm not quite sure how he was related to he was the CFO of Lego, and he was related to my mother. And he gave us this incredible tour. And at the time, they had pneumatic tubing that would take the pellets, that ABS plastic kind of comes in pellets, all around the factory. Of course, they were still making sets in Billund, which I know they don't do that anymore. But
they still do some manufacturing. They don't assemble the sets there. I think they send that to Poland or the Czech Republic. I think it might be the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
So,
But anyway, that was just fascinating to me because it is easier to move solids with pneumatics. I know that's getting a little engineering.
I mean, I am building the Saturn V. So
Yes. So Peter is in the Idaho Lug, and he's been doing quite a few stop motion build videos for a local retail store.
Well, my kudos for your patience then, because those take forever. And you think you've been working like a whole day, you've been working so hard, then you watch, the footage at real time speed, and it's like half a second. You're just like, what have I done with my life?
Did you see when they did that on Parks and Recreation?
Yeah.
No.
One of the main characters, he lost his job, so he got into claymation.
Oh,
And he went to show off this amazing animation, and it was 3 seconds long. And he was like, I spent a whole week on that. But yeah, the biggest set I ever animated was the Lego Ideas Treehouse.
That's one I haven't gotten yet. I still need to get. Did you watch Lego Masters at all?
I watched the first few episodes and then the Star Wars episode.
Because they did a lot of stop motion, kind of brick film animation of some of the builds, which looked like very complicated with lots of things moving. I was just curious how they did it all and what, who was the poor sap who did it all.
Yeah, that was fun though. I like that. You could always kind of predict who was going to do well in a competition if they did the stop motion of it.
You know what? I hadn't thought about that, but that's very true. Yeah, I don't think we're going to finish this rocket today, but it is coming together. So when you do a stop motion, what software do you use? I'm just curious.
I have the Adobe Creative Cloud, so I film everything just disconnected from my computer, just on the back of my camera.
Yeah,
and I import my images into Lightroom, do whatever color corrections I need. I export the individual frames, and then I import all my frames into Adobe Premiere and basically change my frame rate there and slow some things up and speed others up.
Wow.
And there is a $300 program called Dragon Frame that I kind of want to invest in because like with most stop motion animations programs, it lets you gives you an overlay of your previous frame. So if you bump something, you can put it exactly back where it was. And with my current setup, it's hard to do that, but not impossible. So it's like I'm very careful not to bump the camera, not to bump other pieces that I'm not messing with. And I don't think Scott mentioned it, but I build the sets first and I film it in reverse.
Yeah.
And that's just. Oh, go ahead.
No, I assumed that most people did that. I've never heard outright that people do that, so it's good to hear.
When I first started, I literally built it the same way the instructions did, and it got me into a couple of trouble spots of like, oh, I don't need this piece anymore, or I need to turn it upside down,
yeah.
So I just found it, build it first, and then I can take it apart in a aesthetically pleasing way.
Now, I've noticed with some stop motion, some of it is kind of quick cut, so it just does look like a piece comes out of nowhere. But some people kind of like have this kind of smooth type of animation where it kind of like grows organically. How do they do that?
So that involves taking your footage into Adobe After Effects and using an effect called frame blending. So it works really well if you have your camera still and there's little to no movement between frames. So it'll automatically generate the difference between the two frames and give that effect of growing the bricks.
Okay.
And
I was always curious. I didn't know how they did that.
I experimented with it a few times on my hidden side speed builds, and I kind of decided it wasn't worth the extra workflow unless I wanted to do something like a stylistic choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also done, instead of just having them appear out of nowhere, and this one took a really long time to do, I had the bricks slowly come in one by one and have them you can see them flying in. And
that takes a lot of time because then you're not just putting them down or taking them off as you go, but you actually have to like animate them moving away.
Yep. And actually that one I filmed while building it. So
oh, wow.
I scoped out the instructions beforehand. I'm like, yeah, I think I can handle this. And it was the Steamboat Willie set. And
I remember that video.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos because in addition to I filmed it in black and white, gave it a film grain and a crackling audio, so it was like the original cartoon. And then I found a performance from the Army military band of Turkey in the Straw, so I had the appropriate music.
Nice.
That was royalty free. It's like, oh, if a military band plays it, you can use it. It's public domain.
Gotta love public domain. I don't know if military band played it, it was automatically public domain.
Maybe not play it. It was definitely like an original arrangement. So, and then the YouTube music library has a lot of military band stuff on it.
So kind of like Creative Commons type stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go to like Wikipedia and you see anything that's attributed to the military band, it'll say also public domain.
I have a friend who plays tuba in the military band.
Nice. I played the tuba throughout high school in concert.
Really?
Band. Yeah.
I played bass trombone.
Oh, okay. I started on trumpet and then did tuba and then settled on baritone.
Oh, you picked the best one. Baritone has the most amazing sound of any concert band instrument. I mean, the tone is just so pure. I just absolutely love it. I was at an honor band performance, and we had the composer Eric Whitacre there. I grew up in Vegas, and that's where he's from.
Okay.
And so he was conducting, and there's a piece of his called October that has an amazing baritone solo in it. And I've just fallen in love with the baritone. Did you ever do like marching bands and things?
Yeah, I did. In high school I did marching band. And that's when I played trumpet, not tuba.
Probably a good thing.
And then in college I was in the basketball pep band.
Nice.
That was surprisingly when Penn State had a good basketball team, so we got to go to some tournaments.
You're from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, yep. Grew up in Somerset, southwest PA.
My husband is from Telford, Pennsylvania. It's I've looked on a map and it's near Intercourse and Blue Balls. It's
that's out in the Amish country, right?
Yeah, it's like I want to say it's. I don't know the area that well.
Okay, it's north of Philly and south of Allentown.
I've not been able to join their family for Christmas yet, so I'm sure I will go out there eventually. So he keeps on telling me I need to try a real Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah,
It isn't called the Philly cheesesteak; it's just called the cheesesteak. So
Yeah, there's no reason for the redundancy.
Yeah. And apparently it's not allowed to have grilled veggies on it either. It's just meat and cheese and
Yeah. Well, since I've moved out west, I'm lactose intolerant now, so it's like I got to go with the veggies because I feel ridiculous every time I order a cheese steak. I'm like, no cheese.
I mean, isn't that just a French dip then?
Pretty much. But it's like I want to get the peppers and onions and mushrooms.
Yeah.
So.
What about the cheese whiz? I mean, I'm sure some of that is like lactose-free cheese whiz stuff that you can put on it rather than like provolone.
When I'm at a restaurant, I don't risk it since I can't read it because it used to not be so bad, but now I get like allergic reactions like with a rash. It's like it's not worth it anymore.
Huh. So do you think you always had it and you just noticed it more here, or what?
No, it's somewhat common for a lot of people to just become lactose intolerant as adults. Like evolutionary speaking, you're not really supposed to drink milk past infancy. And like most mammals don't drink milk after that point, and just naturally your body stops producing lactase to break it down.
Interesting.
I do have to say that in the early days of the pandemic, when food was scarce, luckily they've kind of corrected that, and people aren't looting for food anymore. There were so many times when I made like every 3 weeks we'd go shopping and there was no milk. And so we bought lactose-free milk because they had it. It was a little bit more expensive, but they had it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty delighted by how, I don't know how they make it lactose-free or whatever, but it tasted fine to me.
I haven't tried it yet. I just, whenever I do get the craving, I usually go with either almond milk or soy milk. But I think almond's probably my favorite.
I've luckily been blessed to not be allergic to anything except for cats and trees and the air. And
that could be a problem if you stay with me.
Oh, do you have cats?
Cats.
Oh, that may not work out.
Good to know. I'm glad we know now. That would have
been.
been.
Cats are little murder machines. Technically, it's cat claw I'm allergic to, I think.
Their claws?
Yeah, there's some substance that's in them that if, and it like turns into dust when they're crawling around things. And then if a cat ever scrapes me, it just like inflames.
Ooh, yeah.
I learned that a fun way, actually.
Funny haha or funny huh?
Funny, oh, what is happening? It was a cute little kitten that was doing that little pine thing.
Yeah.
And
they can't control their claws as well. Yeah.
And then they just kind of gripped in, and it was just like, well, that's cute and adorable, and oh my goodness, I'm dying. It wasn't that bad, but still, it was just you learn things. Sam, what are you allergic to?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Absolutely nothing. Not that I'm aware of, anyway, at this moment in time.
So I'm looking up Eric Whitacre just because I was curious, and I'm just looking at his what do you call it? His works, and I just see one called "Godzilla Eats Las Vegas."
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm gonna listen to that.
It's quite crazy. So he began as a band composer, and then he shifted to choral works. Okay. So that was in his kind of band era. It was one of his first things that he did, and it is fun and it is crazy. So you're in for a good ride with that one.
Have you ever heard of James Swearingen?
I have not.
He does a lot of band compositions, mostly for beginner and intermediate band. So he's from Ohio, and back in 2002, our community band we commissioned him to write a piece for the Flight 93 memorial for September 7th. So I got to be part of the world premiere of that piece.
Oh, nice. So you still play?
Well, that was almost 20 years ago at this point, I guess.
Oh, wow. I guess you're right.
The only time I really play anymore is once a year at Tuba Christmas. And I just haven't gotten my act together to align my schedule with the community band here in Boise. One of these days.
I don't want to get back into it. What?
What is Tuba Christmas?
It's an event that where tuba and euphonium players of all ages come together. I think in Boise it's the second Saturday of December. We get together at the university, we do a rehearsal, and then we go do a concert free to the public at the Capitol building.
I mean, it sounds awesome.
So it's Christmas carols with like at least 50 tubas playing all the melodies and baritone.
I can't wait to hear the tuba rendition of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies.
Don't quite do that one. We do Carol of the Bells, and that's pretty nice.
Nice.
Actually, if you ever check out my YouTube channel, I do have a concert from one of the previous years on it.
Sam, what is his YouTube channel?
Good question.
I don't think he knows.
Normally, he has these things that can fly up on the screen and stuff.
He can quickly if Peter sends him a quick note.
Do you want a link or just the
URL?
Just a name. Just a name will do fine.
Okay. It is currently Space-Time Photography. If I can spell photography. But I've been thinking about rebranding it to Space-Time Brick Studio, since I post mostly Lego stuff now. So no Doctor Who reference there or anything.
You know, the Doctor Who theme played by tuba would be quite fun. Now, have you seen the flamethrower tuba video? Where they I don't know what they pack in the bell. Well, it was a sousaphone. They pack something on it so when they play, it just bursts out with fire on the top.
I haven't.
Oh.
That just made me think of the guy in Portland who rides a unicycle playing the bagpipes dressed as Darth Vader.
Yep.
Because one does think of that. Yeah. No.
I think that person's recently taken to the streets to try to share some joy in the world. So
That's the wrong. Wow, sorry.
Because nothing screams normal like looking out your window and seeing Darth Vader on a unicycle playing the bagpipe while on fire.
I'll admit that's something different.
Thank you.
All right. You're making me miss my band days. Makes me sound like I'm missing band-aids.
Yeah.
Let's see. We played a lot of stuff by. You mentioned new composers. There was one named David Holsinger that we would play a lot of his stuff.
I don't recognize that name. I know another popular contemporary would be Frank DeKelly.
Yes, he has some great stuff.
Great Vesuvius and Loch Lomond.
Yes. I also had a lot of fun playing. There's someone called PDQ Bach. I don't know if you've heard of him. I forget what his real name is, but he releases old school music making fun of them. So like he has the 1812 overture, but it's like the 1712 overture, and he writes it just to include fun kind of references musically throughout the whole thing. It is a ride, and it is so much fun as a musician to play his stuff.
Okay. I have to check that out too.
Yeah. PDQ Bach.
He just got a new mask. What do you think?
It needs more Lego.
It does indeed. I've seen on Etsy.
Sam.
Pardon?
I'm ready for that job.
Yeah, I've got my one ready. I've got my flamingos.
I don't know about you, but I've got this weird compulsion to find the perfect mask now. And of course, it like shows up a gazillion times on.
Oh, you search for it once, you can't get rid of it in your search history.
I know. But anyway, I found this on Etsy, and because I wanted something that went behind my head, because when I'm wearing glasses and my hearing aids, behind the ear doesn't work.
Yeah, I've had my glasses fall off because of it. It changes how much, how well your glasses stay on if you're wearing a mask. I've seen somebody take the 2x2 pieces with the half circle and the hole. I've seen people put those on the end of the mask and use the clasp on the back of the head.
I was just gonna say the same thing. I saw Beyond the Brick shared that yesterday.
Yes, I did.
No, I had a couple of masks. I visited China recently. Well, not recently, a couple of years ago, and got masks for pollution and things like that. So I had a couple on hand. I was glad I had them on hand. Not realizing that they're the ones that have the little vents in them, which technically aren't good for capturing things. Like if you're sick and you're breathing out, it doesn't capture anything. It only purifies the air as it goes in. So then it's like, okay, now I got to buy real masks, and that was back when everybody was looking for masks and nobody could find them anywhere. So it's like, okay. Luckily, we did finally find some. But I think they're quickly going to become the new norm, though.
Till there's a vaccine, I don't see any, unless you want to get sick, like a huge chunk of our population seems to want to.
So do you think Lego's gonna release sets on June 1st, like they say they are?
I know that they are.
Okay.
Yep. And I know the exact time that they're going to release it. So if there's something you're really gunning for, log on to the Brothers Brick at 9 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know what time that is your time. 10 p.m. Mountain time, I guess. Log on to the Brothers Brick at 10 p.m. Mountain time tomorrow, and we will have a list of all 100 plus new sets that you can purchase.
Oh, okay.
Are they actually going to have them in stock though? Because that's been a big problem.
Well, it's having the old stuff in stock that's the problem. They've had their manufacturing sites doing all the new releases, and they've had to convert them to doing all the old stuff since they ran out of all these big sets and stuff. So because these sets that are coming out now, they've already been in production for, a year now or so. So,
Yeah.
and what's weird is that a lot of them are only going to be available in the UK. So next week, Sam, if you want to impress us on this build, you can go out, brave your life, and go out and get some of the sets that we can't get in the US for the next 2 months. So
That's
all
the
of
deal
the
I've already worked out with him.
The Harry Potter sets are
mostly the Harry Potter sets, the Technic Ducati racing bike.
Getting that. Yeah, I'm getting that. That's on my list.
That's only available in the UK for I think that it's a month or two early. So, yeah.
Well, and some of the Lego house.
Oh,
kit.
yeah, the Lego House exclusives.
That's what I'm bargaining with my Saturn V for.
It's a good bargain, and like I say, when the order will be placed, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning.
Scott, are you looking for the Lego House? Which one are you looking for?
The dinosaurs and the tree.
Nice.
They're in my wish list.
I'm looking for the Lego House one, but I kind of just gave up on it, getting it at a reasonable price.
Hopefully, with them going to the UK, they'll make their way. They really did try to release them in the US, but the problem is that they aren't packaged for the US. They don't have the right wording on them, and so they couldn't legally sell them.
I saw some sets this week. They started slapping stickers on boxes to sell them in the US now.
Oh, really? Yeah, I can see them doing that.
But yeah, that morning when I forget which side it was on, maybe it was Brothers Brick or whatever, announced that it was available for purchase from the Lego House, and it's like I could see it in all regions except for the US because I kept changing my VPN, trying to see what and everyone's page was loading except for the US one because I think they realized, oh, we can't do this yet.
I didn't think about the VPN because I thought the Lego store you could pretty much change.
You
store location.
I was just being extra thorough, trying to see if I could get through.
That's how I got Scott his Fiat 500 last month. I just changed my location on the store. Granted, okay, yes, the Fiat 500 is being sold everywhere anyway. So yeah, I just changed my location on the store to the US and shipped it to him from there. Easy.
Nice.
It's a little bit different with the kit you can't get on the US website, but yeah.
So, Peter, just so you know, Dave is one of the Brothers Brick. So that's why we keep talking about the wonderful work that they do.
Yeah, I'm the news editor. So whenever new sets come out or anything like that, I try to
Those things that you can't say without killing us afterwards.
You know what? Sometimes that is true. Sometimes that is true. So, sorry, what were you going to say, Peter?
Oh, no, I was just going to say I kind of gathered from context, and I think I read it in the email that Scott sent out.
It's fun. I mean, it's completely voluntary, so sometimes it's like, why am I doing this? But it's like, it's fun, though.
Yeah.
It's just like you making stop motion films to share. You know, I troll the Lego websites to put together lists of 100 products that are new that people can buy. So,
yeah,
because the Lego store is it's not that intuitive. It's organized oddly, and it's hard to navigate sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've always got these big banners as well in the way of just looking at the products.
Yeah, like you have to
One
click
minute.
the about or products and things. It's just like,
Yeah.
just go right to the products.
Just show me what I want to see.
But yeah, it's I was kind of fortunate with the stop motion thing because it actually kind of morphed into like a little side gig with the local store here.
Oh, nice. So you get to do commissions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But yeah, initially I did it. I'd recently, well, I guess 2 years ago, I was unemployed and was really in my probably biggest depression of my life. And I was just walking down the store and I saw the Lego Marvel Infinity War sets. And I'm like, I really want to make a stop motion. And it's like, it's the first time I picked up Lego since I was a kid. And
Nice.
and then I bought all the Infinity War sets, and I'm like, oh no, this has woken something. And now my room's just full of minifigs and all the sets behind me. But it's been a interesting 2 years. And yeah, just slowly been uploading them to YouTube, and I'm hoping to monetize the channel by the end of the year.
Nice.
Well, good luck with that.
Oh,
I know that's Sam's goal.
Yeah, we're way off in terms of subscribers. Watch hours, we're absolutely fine because your Porsche review video for the 911 RSR was, well, yeah, that was fantastic, and that's, if you will, carrying stuff. But you know, a couple of the other videos we got at the moment are overperforming for where they should be at this time in their life cycle. But yeah, my aim is to make this work for you, Scott. You know that.
I know.
and for me, I'm actually in the same position. I'm good on watch hours.
Yeah.
I need 700 more subs, and I think I've gotten 100 in the last month.
Yeah,
Well, after this, I will subscribe to you to help that work out.
Oh, thanks.
Me too. Me too.
But
in fact, I can do that on your behalf right now, Scott, and I can give you at least 4 from me. You know, with the amount of accounts I look after.
Yes. I have to be careful not to piss Sam off since he has control over all my avenues of social media.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do anything like that, Scott. You know.
Fine.
So do you want? Surprisingly, my most viewed video is not a Lego video. It's a music video I made 2 years ago for the SpaceX launch when they launched Tesla. I took all the footage I could and edited it and to David Bowie's Starman.
Okay.
Nice.
So I have 141,000 views on it, and every time SpaceX is in the news or we come up on a launch, I get a huge spike on that video.
So you're probably getting a spike today.
Yep, today's a good day for it.
When is the launch?
I think it's 1:30 Mountain Time.
Right.
Barring no scrubbing.
Well,
True.
it was still 50%. Of course, I haven't been watching, so I don't know what the odds are yet.
It looks like it's still go at the moment.
Well, then I feel even better. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on, Dave.
I was saying I feel even more justified in my decision to build this set onto there.
Well, and I think I was going to do a watch party. Should I do that from Idea Brickworks, or can I do a watch party from Idea Brickworks?
You should be able to. Just go on a Facebook and you can just go onto the page and you can set it up from there.
Is that something you can do?
I think you just got voluntold.
Yep. If I click on the right place, then yes, I can, rather than going into my local page.
Right. Sam just joined local lug, but you haven't. Obviously, they haven't had meetings. Have they reached out to you?
Yeah, they've reached out. We've got a Facebook group and everything like that where they share everything and all that. So, and like I say, I received my membership brick the other week as well. So yeah, I feel like part of the AFOL community now.
Oh, welcome. Yeah, we've gone to digital meetings.
Yeah, us too.
I keep missing ours because I don't get the invites until the meeting's over.
Why?
I don't know. I think last time, I think Greg sent the invites out the day of, and then I didn't see it until after the meeting was over.
Oh, okay.
So, Sam, have they done their initiations yet? Their hazing at all? Or have they not told you about that yet?
Yeah, they haven't told me about that yet.
Oh, then I won't ruin the surprise then.
So what's that show you sent me? Was it Brick Vibe? No. What was the name of the show?
Brick Live. Yeah. So basically, it's a show in the UK where it's basically just people bring their own mocks and things like that, and you get bugs involved. But they also have, and this again, something we spoke about earlier, an absolute huge portion of free build. And as Simon said earlier, that's one thing that's going to be a little bit interesting coming out of the pandemic.
Now, is Brick Live an independent show? There are some that Lego puts, or there are some that Lego puts on in Europe, don't they?
They do Brick World. They do not Brick World. They do maybe it is called Brick World Copenhagen, and they do Scareback as well.
Okay.
But Brick Live is something they did on East Coast.
Yeah, it's not. It does say right at the bottom of the website, not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with Lego.
Okay. So we have to figure out how to get the
Saturn 5 over it.
Saturn 5. Might be easier to order $4,000 worth of parts and build it there.
Yeah, I could build it in my back garden and take it over there. I don't live too far away from it.
I was getting confused because I know Brick Vibe's also the name of one of, if not the largest Bricklink store. But I'm assuming we're talking about different things.
Yeah. No. I'm
not an original name.
Confusing it with.
Might be same owners. Who knows?
So I hate to bring this party to an end, but we've hit the 2-hour mark.
Oh God, yes, you're right.
Are you kidding me? I have like 20 pieces left in this stage of the rocket.
Time flies.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
Okay, we will call it when you're done with that bag.
Okay. Well, then I will go as slow as possible to make it.
Well, you have to finish in 90 minutes because I'm pretty sure some of us want to watch the launch.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I'll be done in like a minute or two. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for volunteering-ish.
Volunteered.
Kind of sounds like there was some coercion involved.
Oh, no, but just I may have guilted a little bit. Just
Well, when you have one of his 12-foot tall creations in your storage unit, and every now and then needs repairs, you need to stay on his good side.
And upgrades. You've ordered some upgrades too.
I have ordered some upgrades, just so it fits in my Toyota Corolla better. So
That is so funny to see that.
I'll have to send you some pictures. I don't have them on my computer, but I fit it all in.
So Scott, when you get some of those photos back, I'd like to make some custom box art for you.
I know. I've been thinking about that.
If you're willing, I'd be up for giving it a shot.
Yeah. This would be a good question for Mr. Schefcik. What would Lego's response be if we did a box art of my Saturn V as if it was the ideas set?
Are you making money off of it?
Well, it would be on my site, but no, I don't think I could sell it.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to whether or not you make money off of it. If it's just kind of like a personal project for artwork, go for it. If it's you're selling it, then I think they look down on that. So
I know a few times they got upset with people who built box art for their mocks for like an upcoming set that was coming out from Lego, and people confused it.
Yeah,
I think it was the Death Star. When the second Death Star came out, someone made box art for it that was a fan, and like a Lego store actually printed it out and was confused by it.
Well,
Really?
I mean, I made these for my wedding, right? And then these probably wouldn't even fly just because, it imitates the Lego brand a little bit too much. Even though the Lego logo says love and different things like that, but I mean, it's a little bit too close to comfort for them.
Yeah.
Because
if
I mean,
you were putting those out, that would be, or if you're selling them.
yeah, and it's hard too because I mean they want to protect their brand, but just think of like if I had that sit in my collection and then passed away, and then my collection was given to Goodwill,
Right. So,
somebody would post online, oh Lego, whatever set, and they just it's like they need to protect their brand. So
and, I mostly just want to do it because I think it would be a huge gag of Scott unloading the biggest Lego set ever in 4 boxes. Or
I think if it's just for fun to put on the site to make it look cool, I'd say go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to get the most accurate piece count.
Yeah, I know. I've already actually written that down because I've made so many modifications. I need to kind of go to what the latest is because I've been improving the one here just about every time I move it.
And are you going to include brick separators, 1 per box, or just 1? And then all your non-Lego pieces, will those be counted?
That's a good point. I think I have to count the non-Lego, the armature and the plate and the weights.
No, you just say it comes with a free stand. I do want to know what the box dimensions would be. So
yeah, we'll have to come up with what the dimensions would be for that many parts.
And you can do well. I'm looking at the box right here, and it has like the little blueprints on the side where you can like show the side view of it all. You can put your little lunar lander with your space people on the side. I would use your logo instead of the Lego logo in the corner, but yeah, I look forward to seeing the box art.
Well, thank you so much. I see you've finished that.
Yep, this is done. It's a little holy right here, but I assume that you fixed that later. So
yes,
it's stage 1 with no engines, right?
I believe so. Yep. So
just it's kind of shits and giggles, but that stage lasts just under what is it, about 20 seconds. to burn the fuel out of that before they stage to stage 2.
Crazy.
It's like, and you are not in orbit until the 3rd stage.
So how many miles
That's
per gallon
incredible.
is that?
You've broken the sound barrier by the time that it's going, but again, it's losing propellant, so it's losing weight. So its acceleration is pretty dramatic after the pad and after it starts burning off fuel. But as they say, what a ride.
Well, I can honestly say that I did not know nearly as much about the Saturn V rocket until I built a 12-foot tall one with you. So.
And you were next to a weirdo like me. Okay, well, thanks. That's it for today. I want to thank Dave for coming on. Thanks, Peter, for showing up.
Yeah, no problem.
And always my thanks to Sam, my lovely producer, who is actually looking quite dapper right now with his haircut and his beard.
Oh wait, before we go, I have to match Sam.
Wait! This is a wholesome show,
Because we did all this work. You got this logo and everything. We need to use it.
That's true. Well, thanks everybody, and see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Good to see you.